Hey everybody, Satnam, it's Shakti here, and gosh, is that light really bright? I've got my desk light on my face. I want to make this live stream right now on the theme of women, puberty, and your body beautiful, your beautiful, beautiful, beautiful body. And the reason for this is simply I always do things when I'm inspired to do them, and the inspiration came actually for this morning, but I've not had time until now to do it. So I was inspired to make this video this morning because I was taking some pictures, not selfies, I was taking some pictures of my 16-year-old daughter for an application that she has to submit to drama school. And when she looked at the photos, she started to cry because they weren't representative of her own image of herself. She has good self-confidence, she really does, but somehow something in those pictures this morning made her feel a little bit ugly and a little bit unattractive and a little bit upset, and she cried. And I was holding my 16-year-old daughter, hello, thank you for watching. I was holding her as she cried and just whispering in her ear, you're beautiful, you're beautiful, you're beautiful. Everything is fine, you're perfect, you're beautiful. And this is something I've been affirming to my daughter, well, her whole life, really, but particularly in these teenage years of puberty, because I know from personal experience what a difficult time this transition is from girl into woman. And I know how much there is in the environment around us that challenges all of a sudden, as women, our notion of our worth. And there is such a strong programming in the matrix around us, in culture and society, in the media, everywhere, that is put upon women, where all of a sudden we are led to believe that our worth is dependent on our conforming to a notion of beauty that is defined by, who's it defined by? Somebody else, but it's not defined by us. And all of a sudden we begin to feel like we're not good enough and that we're unworthy if we don't fit in with that societally defined norm of beauty, right? So to counteract that, in part, I've always affirmed to my 16-year-old daughter, you are beautiful. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, not to make her feel vain or over-focused on her physical appearance, which she's not, but to affirm that she is beautiful from the inside out, and however she looks, she would always be beautiful to me because she is. I have this next to my bed, and this is from Yogi Tea. Yogi Tea is inspiring me at the moment. I'm going to just put it up. I don't know if you can see it. It says, you are equally as beautiful as the universe. And I have that next to my bed because it's true. I am equally as beautiful as the universe. And I'm not saying that because I'm vain and I think I'm amazing or better than anyone else. We are all equally as beautiful as the universe because we all are an expression of the beauty of the universe. Every single one of us, right? We all are. If that doesn't resonate as true, then honestly, I'm telling you, anything else you've been told actually is bullshit and it's a lie. And now I just want to talk about this programming that happens for women around puberty especially, and how in my experience nothing has changed. Now I've been teaching women for 16 years and I've been teaching in the realm of the body. So of course I get to see very, very directly women's beliefs about and relationship to their body. I've been teaching dance, yoga, and then facilitating women's circles, tantric circles, red tents for 16 years. And I have seen in every single one of those environments where I've been a teacher and facilitator for women, the, what should I call it? The epidemic of self-hatred about the body. It's a very, very, very rare woman I come across who genuinely loves her body and is genuinely totally in touch with her body. But here's the thing, unless we are fully in love with and in touch with our bodies, we cannot be fully in our power. And we cannot be fully in our power sexually or spiritually or simply as a woman without that. And of course that applies actually to everyone. It applies to women and men, but I work with women, so I'm addressing women in this message. So I want to talk a little bit, and then my daughter, who's 16, I see in what she reports back to me from her peer circle at school, pretty much every single one of her girlfriends has a low opinion of her appearance. There's quite a high proportion of self-abuse and cutting or other forms of self-abuse in terms of extreme dieting and so on and so forth. Again, the number of teenage girls who truly love their bodies, whoa, it's really rare. So what I see here is a conditioning, a programming that is in the mainstream, which is, I don't know if I can say it's put there intentionally, but it certainly is a very, very big barrier to women standing in their power and to adolescent girls blossoming into the fullness of their potential. I see that very, very clearly. I'm going to talk a little bit about my own personal story, because I know some people might be watching this and they might be looking at me and they might be thinking, well, that's all right for you. You're pretty. You do this work. It's all easy. Well, actually, when I went into puberty, I was quite spotty, and my body didn't develop in the way that other girls' bodies did in terms of fitting that norm that I thought I had to fit to be an attractive woman. So I didn't get big boobs and sort of this curvy figure, which is what I was led to believe one had to have. Why did I believe one had to have that? Well, when I got on the bus, I would look across and men were looking at page 3 pictures of women with big tits. When I was in the car with my dad, I would see him ogle women on the street who had big breasts. When I was out as a teenager with girlfriends, I would notice how men would come and talk to my friends who had big boobs, but they wouldn't talk to me because I didn't, or some other reason. But this was what I perceived anyway as a teenager who was developing. My parents would make comments about my body. They would tell me that my bottom was too fat. They would tell me I was too spotty. My sister would tell me I smelled of BO. So actually, I felt really, really unattractive based on the comments that my family was making, based on what I saw in the mainstream. I didn't conform to this idea of a woman who men pursued, because men didn't pursue me. Boys didn't pursue me because I was intellectual and deep and shy. I was not that kind of curvaceous on-show woman that I saw men responded to. I could see girls who were that way, who used their bodies to manipulate men for attention. Well, I couldn't do that because I didn't have that body. So that was my experience of puberty and becoming a woman. So what I saw was women who conformed to a particular way of looking got attention, they got attraction, and they were objectified, but they had value, and their only value was in being an object. And so I felt invisible because I was super intelligent and super deep and super sensitive, but those qualities were not being valued. So I suddenly felt completely invisible, like I wasn't being seen. And even in the mainstream media, there were women on television who were really bright, but they were reduced to being objects. I don't know if you remember one of those shows. I don't know if it was Countdown or something like that. One of the women, super bright mathematician, but reduced to being the beautiful blonde sex object rather than being valued for her brains. So this is what I saw. And even though we all talk about how things have changed, actually they haven't. In a very similar but different way, these same messages are still being perpetuated. So what I want to ask is, who's defining this notion of beauty and how are they benefiting? Who is defining this notion of beauty and how are they benefiting? Are you benefiting? Who's benefiting? And mothers, fathers, carers, what messages are you projecting onto your daughters? What messages are you giving them? Are you affirming to them their inherent beauty, or are you yourself so subject to this programming that you think still Your value is dependent upon your looks. Because I tell you one thing, once again, I've been working with women for 16 years. Beautiful women, beautiful as in what is defined externally in the mainstream, aren't any happier. Beautiful women don't necessarily attract better relationships. Beautiful women, again, this is just as is defined in the mainstream, don't necessarily attract better men in terms of men who truly care, love and value and respect them. It's bullshit. So this idea that you're somehow better or happier or richer or something because you conform to this externally defined notion of beauty is bullshit. It's a lie that we are programmed with. Why? Well, as I've said at the beginning, a woman who truly loves her body, a woman who truly believes she is beautiful from the inside out, and who is not dependent on external validation for her sense of well-being and confidence, is a woman who's in her power sexually, spiritually, and totally. I mean, really, it's quite ridiculous to think, and I do get quite frustrated about this, that grown women, like in their 40s and 50s, still feel insecure about their bodies. Like, wake up, your body is beautiful. You are beautiful inherently from the moment you are born to the moment you are dead. You are equally as beautiful as the universe. And if you don't believe that, please just have a look at where this message has come from that you still believe, because it's a programming. It is not the truth. And anybody who perpetuates that belief is not your friend. They are not your friend. So anyone who's making comments about your looks that are derogatory, making comments about others' physical appearance that are derogatory, you're just perpetuating that narrative, which is keeping women or keeping you disempowered. So I hope that message is clear. I feel really passionate about this. I feel so passionate about this because the body is the basis for our living this life. And it's our basis for connecting with the spiritual energy of Shakti. It's our basis for being able to express our essence into the world. So any disconnect from that disconnects us from source, disconnects us from being able to love, disconnects us from being able to make love, disconnects us from being able to stand in our true power. So anywhere where you have placed your value on an externally defined definition, or anywhere where you're still dependent on that reflection or feedback from another, just take a look at that. The truth is, you're inherently beautiful. It doesn't matter what shape you are, doesn't matter what color you are, doesn't matter whether there's hair or no hair. It's all beautiful. It's all God. It's all divine. You are divine, and I really, really want you to know that. Mothers, fathers, carers, speak to your girls with love, admire them, tell them how beautiful they are. When they choose to dress a certain way, say, wow, that's great. I love that you're wearing those colors that you love. Stop it with the derogatory comments. Know that whatever you transmit will be held in the psyche and in the body of your child. Children are so sensitive. They pick up on everything. And if you've got issues with your own body, don't project them onto your child. Deal with your own issues so that that doesn't continue through the lineage. Okay, enough speaking. Just really had to get that message across. And also, right, here's coming from me. This is some ways in which I work with this. On the 24th of November, I'm doing an embodiment workshop in Southend at the Yoga Factory. It's a Dancing the Goddess workshop where we're going to be focusing for the day on embodiment. So really looking at how we move, love and embrace our bodies, and gifting you this sense of being fully at home in this beautiful vessel of yours. 24th of November at the Yoga Factory in Southend. Please come. In my Awakening Shakti, second thing, I have an ongoing group which starts next January, 12th of January. It's a 9-month deep dive for women, and we spend a whole month looking at this relationship with our bodies and coming to love and embrace ourselves so that we can be free and so that we can be fully ourselves. And finally, one-to-one coaching is another way in which I support women in addressing this. It's really time that we all stop believing this bullshit about beauty being dependent upon looking a certain way. You are inherently beautiful. That is your gift to the world as a woman. Satnam.